Today I want to share with you my winter makeup routine. This is one of my go-to looks, particularly when I have very pale skin because I am naturally very pale. So I'm going to start off with a primer. For pale skin, always use a clear or white primer. Even though slightly tinted but then translucent primers can add a little bit of color to our skin that we do not need when you are super pale like me. So I go for clear or white primers and preppers. Now when my skin is pale, I like to use a corrector palette, so I pink tone underneath my eyes, and then instead of using the yellow, I use green. Because my skin is so pale, I don't have that yellow tone that I get from my fake tan, so in order to cover up redness, I use green instead. Not only is my skin pale, it's actually quite transparent, so I need to use a corrector to give me that coverage that I want. For foundation, I use the Healthy Mix in the palest shade available, but I do need to mix in a white foundation because otherwise it will be too dark on me. And I just apply this with the F20 and I go over the top of that corrector, just patting over the top of it. This will give me fuller coverage, I won't have to use as much foundation, and I'll just let that corrector do its job. Now you guys know that I love the L'Oreal True Match Mineral, but it's just not pale enough for me, so I do mix in a white powder with it and then use that to set my makeup instead because I can't go without my L'Oreal True Match Mineral. It's just too good. Just wish that they had lighter shades because the W1 is just not light enough. And I also use a large brush rather than a smaller one because I need it to be quite sheer. Now my eyes always look a little bit red when I'm wearing really pale foundation. It just shows up the tone, so I always go in with a white pencil and apply this on my waterline. Then for the brows, I'm going to use this brow pencil. I love this one, and I actually recently got my brows tinted, so I don't have to use as much product on them. I just use a pencil to fill in any areas that might have gaps. And then I go in with one of my favorite products of all time, which is the Essence Make Me Brow. This has little fibers in it that build up your brows. It's a really awesome product. For the eyes, I'm going in with this really beautiful cool toned eyeshadow palette. It's hard to find a cool toned eyeshadow palette. Most of them are quite warm or neutral, but this is nice and cool. So I used the lightest shade all over the lid and right up to the brows. And then I went in with this kind of mauve tone. It's kind of a gray mauve purple tone and just worked this into my crease. I will be coming back to the eyes at the end, but this just adds a little bit of definition before we move on. I like to go for quite dramatic eyeliner in the winter, and I don't have to worry about my eyeshadows with my skin tone because my skin tone is so sheer that most eyeshadows just don't show up and really pop on my skin. So I just find with this, I can have that drama and it's just simple eyeliner and it looks great and it looks polished. This is actually the technique that I showed you guys from this Monday's makeup lesson. If you haven't seen it, I will link it in the description box, but it's a really easy way to apply your eyeliner. And of course, I'm applying false eyelashes, lots of mascara, because I'm obsessed. I wear eyelashes every day, you guys. It's ridiculous. Look at this palette. It is so beautiful. See this shade right there? Best highlighter for pale skin ever. And actually, this palette has a really good contour shade too. It's not too warm. It's not too dark. It works great on very pale skin. However, we do have to then go in with an extra special thing that I always do when I have pale skin. You have to even out that warmth. So apply your contour the same way as you always do, but then I take a mauve toned eyeshadow. You have to work this over the top of the contour. Don't use it by itself, but apply this on a large brush, a very small amount, over your contour, and it will take all of that warmth away and cool it down for you, and then it'll be perfect. Blush is the same thing. It's hard to get a really good blush for pale skin, so I mix in a little bit of blush and then that mauve tone, which is actually an eyeshadow, but it can be used on the face. And then for the lips, I went for a blue toned red. So I started off with a plum lip liner and then went in with a blue toned red. It has more of like a plummy grape kind of undertone. If I'm going for a bold lip, I always add a few extra steps after the bold lip because otherwise you can go really dramatic, add the bold lip, and it's over the top. So after you've done your lipstick, add in any extra steps or any extra highlighter or contour or eyeshadow or eyeliner, whatever it is, add that in afterwards. And that way you're never going to go over the top. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely let me know in the comments and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in a video on Monday. Bye guys.